Today we will be discussing the Jordan 1 Court Purple as well as the Yeezy 700 V3 Alvah later in the video. To be specific, we will be discussing some release info, how to cop, and some resale predictions for all the sneakers mentioned in today's video. To kick it off with some release info, both of these sneakers will be dropping this Saturday, April 11th. The Jordan 1 Court Purple will be dropping for $170, grade school sizes for $130. Then the Yeezy 700 V3 Alvah will be dropping for $200, infant for $100, and preschool for $130. Stock on the Court Purple is very high. Luckily, there is enough demand to compensate for that. We'll discuss more at the resale predictions portion of the video. On the other hand, the Alvah is more limited in comparison to previous Yeezys. That's not to say they're extremely limited and not to the point to where you guys shouldn't have a chance at copying. You guys should be able to, at least if you follow the video. Also, I do want to preface this by apologizing for my voice. I am pretty sick right now, unfortunately, but that's not going to stop me from getting this information to you guys. So feel free to subscribe and turn on post notifications to stay 100% updated on all these hype sneakers. With that, though, let's jump right into this. First, to preface the Jordan 1 Court Purple portion, the large Europe retailers such as Foot Locker Europe, Sneakers, Soulbox, Snipes Europe, etc. have already released April 4th. So we'll be starting off with the US retailers, and as usual, we'll only be mentioning sites that you have a manual shot at if you can't afford a bot or monitor. These are going to be your best manual opportunities with no external resources. To start off, my absolute personal favorites in this case would be Finish Line and JD Sports. If you're not in a group and don't have access to any early links, that's okay too, no problem. You can use the search bar and search for Jordan 1 High to narrow it down. Then they will load up under these at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. All you'll have to do is click the product page once you're through queue. Now make sure you set this up before 9 a.m. Eastern Time, even though the drop is at 10 a.m. Eastern Time for all these US sites. The reason being, you won't be able to set up the search if you get caught in queue. Hypothetically, if you do get caught in queue, if you're setting up late, for example, that's still okay. You could still search for it once you get through queue. It just wastes a little bit of time that's not necessary. Same thing goes for JD Sports, same exact setup as Finish Line. You could also feel free to use the Finish Line app if you want to in the same manner. Now, you can use a few Chrome users to get through queue a little faster, but keep in mind, Finish Line and JD Sports both do ban IP addresses for too many requests within a small period of time. Hence, I do suggest you only make several for each site, and if you do hypothetically get banned, connect to your phone's hotspot to evade it. Moving on, I think it's fair to say that where you'll see the most success is Nike sneakers, and that's not only because they're terrific at stopping bots, but primarily because they have the most stock there. Nike sneakers will be a Leo drop, let everyone order, which essentially means you'll have just several minutes to enter as many accounts as possible. The more you enter, the higher your chances of being selected are. Keep in mind, there is also a grade school pair on the same page as the men's pair. All you guys got to do is scroll down to access that. If you guys need more pre-verified sneakers accounts to increase your chances of copying, you can purchase from my website. I left the link in the description for these very affordable, reliable, pre-verified sneakers accounts. And just an important note regarding any new sneakers accounts, even if you're just making a new one yourself, prior to signing in on the Nike sneakers website, you need to add your address to each account from the Nike sneakers app or on desktop Nike, not sneakers. After that, you'll be fine to sign into Nike sneakers on the website. You shouldn't have to worry about changing your IP since it is a Leo drop. You'll have very little time to enter a ton of accounts, like a mass amount of them, unlike draws. But for safety, I still suggest taking advantage of the hotspot you can have on your phone, or just simply using a few tabs on your mobile device, one with Safari, one with Chrome, for example, and the sneakers app, just so you're spreading it out as much as possible, just to decrease the number of requests that are being sent from your IP address. Moving on, another fantastic opportunity is Footsites. Footsites will have both men and grade school pair links loaded up before they drop. You can access these by just going to the release calendar page. Right now they're not loaded if you're watching this video a little earlier, but as you approach the drop closer to 10 a.m. Eastern Time, they will be loaded up there. Just click on details and it'll take you right to the page. My biggest tip here is having all tabs set up pre-drop so you don't get caught up in queue. Then sign into an account onto each one, have all your information already pre-filled out onto the accounts to save as much time as possible. Be ready to spam the add to cart button as well a lot, considering these sites do get a little laggy. They tend to throw a lot of errors. That's just how Footsites are. Don't be too discouraged, especially because they're getting absolutely slammed with bots. Moving on, another Q site, but that has less stock than Finish Line and JD, is Snipes. Previously known as Kicks USA. It's not actually It's actually not too bad for manual as long as you're willing to be patient here. For example, you could just open up the queue, focus on the other sites, and every here and then just go check on the queue to see if the little guy that's walking happens to get any progress. And the same exact setup for he applies as Finish Line and JD that we mentioned earlier. Then moving on from that, Shoe Palace is a good place to try as well after all the 10 a.m. Eastern drops are finished. And the reason I say this is because Shoe Palace tends to stay in stock for a significant period of time. So I don't suggest trying here first, especially because it's very tedious as well. You're just going to be constantly trying to add to cart. So definitely not something to focus on right away. But if you do have some free time on your hands after those other drops, you can feel free to give it all you got. Of course, there are numerous other sites, especially many Shopify sites, but without the external resources, I would not waste your time there as a manual user, considering you can only focus on so many places at one time. These sites mentioned above are going to be where you guys will have the best opportunities with no external resources and still be able to have some decent success. Then regarding the Alvah Yeezy 700s, these are going to be the biggest sneaker in terms of profit. The majority of sites releasing these, unfortunately, are going to be sites where are going to be extremely difficult to cop manually, at least without external resources, but you still 100% do have two absolutely fantastic opportunities, and ironically, those two fantastic opportunities happen to be the two sites with the most stock by a ridiculous amount as well. So usually Adidas does do the app reservations, but luckily this time they are dropping via the site via a queue, just like they used to in the good old days. So I know you guys are going to love this. And of course, Yeezy Supply as well also shifted to Demandware. We've been discussing this for a while now. So the same method you guys have been using for years on Adidas, you can now use that for Yeezy Supply as well. When it comes to copying on these sites, the multiple people jig still works. It's a simple exploit using multiple Chrome users that you can create in the top right corner of Google Chrome under Manage People. Now, for a full in-depth guide on this, feel free to watch the video right here. This video breaks everything down step by step, so easy that even your grandmother can do it. And yes, of course, guys, you will be able to use this same exact exploit on any future Adidas or Yeezy Supply drops as well. Now, with how to cop out of the way, let's start off with some resale predictions, kicking it off with the Court Purples, men's sizes to be specific. As mentioned before, stock is very high for these, but there is also great demand on these sneakers. Now, right now, prices are extremely low for pre-sale. In fact, they're a little lower than usual because Europe has already dropped almost all their stock April 4th. There is an abnormal influx in early pairs in circulation at the moment, which drastically is affecting this pre-sale. For this reason, these actually have the potential to have a small increase in price following the drop. They're a little lower than what they should be currently. Nothing significant, but enough to get you profit on all sizes under 9, and even a small amount of profit for sizes 9 and 9.5 if you don't have tax in your location. Following the drop, I do suggest selling them as soon as possible, and this actually goes for all upcoming sneakers, and this is specifically because of the COVID-19 situation. Not saying that COVID-19 is making resale any lower, but in fact, it's actually offering a unique opportunity to resellers to make a little more profit than they should have. And the reason I'm saying this is because everyone who would normally be copying all these pairs in-store aren't going to be able to be copying these pairs in-store, which is bringing a whole lot more people into the secondary market. So this means there's going to be a lot more people taking L's who have no idea what they're doing at all. These are the types of people who only try on the sneakers app. These are the people who simply just set up on the foot apps and that's about it. Now they aren't able to cop and they'll have to resort to paying resale. So the reason I say that prices are going to be a little higher at first is specifically because all these people are going to take L's and there's going to be an influx in demand, of course. But after all the pairs ship in, prices are going to drop again because all that pair that would have been in store is now out there as well. So it's a little unusual compared to what we've been seeing over the past years and years. But right now with this unique situation, the fact that there's almost no in-store pairs, at least very little compared to how it would normally be, you should see prices drop significantly after the first week and a half or so. Overall, despite resale being very low for these, there is good potential for these to maintain profitability, just nothing crazy. And now regarding grade school pairs, all sizes under 5.5 and potentially even 5.5, 6, and 6.5 as well for with just some lunch money should be profitable for these as well. Same points apply as what we discussed for the men's pairs earlier. Now, regarding the Yeezy Alvahs, undoubtedly these are going to be the biggest cook of the entire weekend. This is where you'll make the most profit above all. Resale and current demand is looking absolutely amazing for these. Most importantly, the last 700 V3 did amazing as well. Regarding this specific colorway, black is undeniably a very desirable colorway for many, but most importantly, unlike normal 700s at $300, these are only $200, leaving plenty of room for a ton of profit and a terrific margin on these as well. So, of course, guys, you're going to want to go full throttle on these Alvahs. When it comes to the Jordan 1 Core Purples, there is still some profit to be made. It's just nothing significant, at least compared to what we're going to be seeing with these Alvahs. Anyway, that will conclude it. Remember, if you guys do need affordable, reliable, pre-verified sneakers accounts, the link is in the description below for that. Like if you enjoyed or you perhaps learned a thing or two. Also, subscribe and enable post notifications if you happen to be new here. And, of course, enjoy your day and good luck on the drops, of course.